And finally, the result that all of us predicted. I mean, the loss that Arsenal had to suffer. It did come through. Manchester City 1, Arsenal 0. This is your match reaction. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to Kosi's Arsenal podcast. And smash the like button if you feel this was this was the right result you expected. Because for me, I thought it was gonna be a 3-1, 3-0 thriller, but Manchester City, after all, not so impressive in the game. I'm gonna be really speaking much of on the Arsenal side, my game reaction, what I think about the game, why we lost, and I think I'm also going to be sharing my disappointment with Mikel Arteta and the way he selected his lineup. You know, I really thought we would actually go with a centre-back partnership that had been playing more regularly, because the goal we conceded, I'm gonna blame it on Mikel Arteta, and I know so many people are gonna say, Kosi, we held up City because of Murray and Holding and so on, but the truth is there was no communication between those two. You know, the goal we conceded, Murray was out for some time. Rob Holding had been dropped out of the pecking order for the last 2 games. I don't know why. We've been using David Louis and Gabriel Magalhaes, and all of a sudden he picks Murray and Holding, two centre-back, a centre-back pairing of 2 players who have been not playing football together. Because of course I understand Holding has been playing football, and I did recommend him in my predicted lineup. But I thought he would have played him with a player like either David Louis or Rob Holding. But why the hell does he play Pablo Murray? I just didn't get it. I just didn't get it. They were calm. I think the truth is City were toothless in the 90. If City were that ruthless, like they were against Manchester United, or they were against Chelsea, or they were against Tottenham Hotspur, I don't think we would have seen the same result. We are talking about a 1-0. But that particular goal in 1 minute and 17 seconds, Raheem Sterling, as short as he is, gets into the air, a free header, a gifted free header. Mohamed Elneny is ball watching. Rob Holding is ball watching. Pablo Murray is ball watching. Hector Bellerin is ball watching. Absolutely everyone is leaving Raheem Sterling unmarked. Don't you know how dangerous he is? Because at least, even if you thought he wouldn't score from his head, he is that dangerous. He is Manchester City's danger man. But that was a mistake, and I'm gonna blame it on Mikel Arteta. Why do you change your centre-back pairings like that? What are you looking for? Gabriel Magalhaes is sloppy, I understand, but David Louis has been a little bit solid. Play him. Absolutely everyone thought, Holding was going to play with David Louis, or at least David Louis playing with what? With Gabriel Magalhaes, but I didn't agree. And then the other thing I didn't agree with in this game is going with Mohamed Elneny. What is so special about Mohamed Elneny? For Christ's sake, his passing is poor. He's very slow. He does, his work rate is also poor. He was absolute shambles in that game. Absolute shambles. And that's the reason as to why we almost never had a midfield. Almost never had a midfield. No tackles from Mohamed Elneny, no passes going forward from Mohamed Elneny, no nothing. I didn't agree with playing Mohamed Elneny in that game. I didn't agree. And Mikel Arteta, this was a big problem. For me, I think if he wanted to rotate the midfield and he wanted to put off Emile Smith-Rowe, he should have stuck with Dani Ceballos, because at least Ceballos is not so good defensive wise, which I think Mohamed Elneny is not, although we want him to be. We want to think that he's that defensively well gifted, equipped player, but he isn't. He isn't defensively gifted. He is not. And in the midfield, Kevin De Bruyne and whoever, they ran the show, because we were almost a man down in the midfield. So I didn't agree, and I in my match preview I did say we should have gone with a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2. Try to make it hard for Manchester City. That is what it's all about. You're not going to beat them, you're not going to overplay them, but try to make it hard for Manchester City. That is, I thought that's what we were going to do, but we actually made it easy. Look at the goal we conceded. So easy. let Manchester City get in there. Riyad Mahrez, the cross from, the cross was so easy, perfect. The timing, everything is so good. Raheem Sterling in the right position, and Rob Holding, what are you doing? There is no competition, there is no pressure, there is no challenge on that ball, and it's an absolute goal, a free header, and it wins it. Because how many times has City conceded in their last 10 games, 17 games? They have conceded only 4 times, and they have conceded 2 times out of open play, only 2 times. So it looks like when they score, when they go 1-0 up, it's a win. And we know the problems of Arsenal. Creating has been a problem, ever since the start of the season, and it manifested itself today. Scoring goals has been a problem. It manifested itself today. It was not our show. It wasn't our show. But you know what? I think there are some positives to take out of this game, and I think many Arsenal fans will take many positives out of this game other than the negatives. Of course, it's a loss, and it doesn't really mean anything in regards to Arsenal's progress on the table going forward. But one of the things I think I saw is character. When Manchester City get that goal, 1 minute and 17 seconds, you think they're gonna run the show, and they did. But until the 40th minute, Manchester City do not have a clear shot on target, a clear chance on target. Actually, if you count how many clear-cut chances Manchester City had, before halftime, even in the second half, you're gonna be like, okay, maybe this was this is something, but quite positive, because at least what I thought is, when they scored early, we were going to get out of shape. They were going to absolutely destroy us, things like that. But I was a little bit impressed, and I have to be, very optimistic that this can actually, hold. It was so good. It was so good to see Arsenal 1 goal down, no pressure. You're just in there. But look, it was a game where we really performed poorly, and I don't want to sugarcoat the performances and so on. Yeah, the character was there. We were we hang on somehow. I don't know how we did, but we did. And I'm gonna give a lot of credit to players like Granit Xhaka in that midfield. I'm gonna give a lot of praise, credit to players like Kieran Tierney. I think Tierney and Saka were the only players that were actually driving us forward. The only force that was driving us forward. Martin Odegaard, I think he had a nightmare every game. I don't think he did really perform to his expectations, or I don't think that's the kind of performance he would have wanted. Kieran Tierney, for me, he was good. And Saka, they are the only 2 players that actually tries to dash it forward. And I'm going to ask myself a question: does even Mikel Arteta think before playing Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang or Lacazette? Because for me, this was a Lacazette game. You're not going to have possession. You need someone who's going to hold the ball forward, not run at City. We're not going to do that. We're not going to play counter-attacking football at City. We were never going to do that. And even if we were going to play counter-attacking football at City, you've already brought in, Pepe. Pepe is not going to run at City. He's going to hold that ball, try to cut inside. So he's not a runner. Definitely, he's not. So I think Lacazette should have been the striker we were gonna use. It should have been Lacazette, not Pep, not Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. But of course, because Aubameyang is captain and so on, he gets that privilege. But I think that was a mistake. The other mistake I saw that he did, apart from El Neni and the centre-back pairing, that was so wrong, is letting Emile Smith-Rowe out of that game. That actually created a lot of deficits in our creativity. A lot of deficits. You could look at that midfield and you're like, who's gonna create the chances? Our hopes were in Saka, Pepe, who definitely didn't do anything in this game. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who was silent, absolutely silent. He was in silent disco. Granit Xhaka, who is not so good in creating chances, and then Mohamed El Neni, who I don't know why he actually played. So I think Emile Smith-Rowe should have played this game. Yeah, I understand, and I typically do understand why he didn't play Smith-Rowe. He wanted that a heavy midfield. He wanted heavy legs in that midfield. Try to stop Kevin De Bruyne, try to stop whoever it was in that midfield, Bernardo Silva and the others. I think that's what he tried to do, but it didn't work out. And I think this is what he should have done at halftime. Yeah, you played 45 minutes. City are running the show. You need to create chances. Bring on Emile Smith-Rowe. Bring on Dani Ceballos. And what actually he does is wait for the 70th minute, the 74th minute, and try to make changes when I think everything was all over. But for me, I don't want to criticize anybody in this game so much. It was a game that we were never going to win. I mean, we were never going to win it. It's the truth. And I know many Arsenal fans do not want to hear the truth, but we were never going to beat City. They were absolutely cruising, and they are absolutely cruising. They're getting clean sheets, they're getting points. They're looking at winning the league with a big point difference, and they can if Manchester United continue making the mistakes they're making. So I think it was a City show, and finally they benefited out of it. 1-0 was the final score.